If you thought iPhone upgrades were starting to feel a little too predictable, the iPhone 18 Pro Max might be the device that changes that conversation. According to the latest leaks and early reports, Apple is not just working on a faster phone this time. It may be preparing a flagship that feels more polished, more intelligent, and more ambitious in the areas that actually matter to users every single day. And what makes this especially interesting is that the biggest changes may not come from flashy gimmicks, but from meaningful refinements across design, camera hardware, performance, battery life, and the display itself. At first glance, the iPhone 18 Pro Max may still look familiar because Apple rarely throws away its core design language overnight. But the real story could be in the details. Leaked renders suggest that Apple is refining the overall body with smoother transitions between the titanium frame and the glass panels, creating a more seamless feel in the hand. That might sound like a small change on paper, but in real-world use, it could make a huge difference. Premium smartphones are judged not just by how they look, but by how they feel after hours of use, and Apple seems to be pushing for a more comfortable, more refined experience without losing that unmistakable Pro Max identity. But the area getting the most attention right now is the camera, and for good reason. One of the most exciting rumors surrounding the iPhone 18 Pro Max is the possibility of a variable aperture system. If Apple really brings this feature to the iPhone, it could be one of the most important camera hardware upgrades we've seen in years. A variable aperture allows the lens to physically adjust depending on the lighting conditions, which means the camera can let in more light when you are shooting in darker environments, and reduce light intake when conditions are bright. In simple terms, that could lead to more balanced photos, better low-light performance, improved depth control, and a more natural overall image. This is the kind of feature that moves smartphone photography closer to professional camera behavior, and if Apple combines it with its image processing and software tuning, the results could be seriously impressive. Instead of just adding another spec for marketing purposes, this could be the kind of upgrade users genuinely notice every time they open the camera app. Whether it is portraits, night photography, outdoor shots, or even video, a system like this could help the iPhone 18 Pro Max stand out in a very competitive flagship market. Performance is another area where expectations are incredibly high, and once again, Apple seems ready to push things forward in a major way. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is expected to feature a new Apple chip built on a more advanced process, most likely 2nm. And if that happens, this could represent one of the biggest jumps in both performance and efficiency we've seen from the iPhone in a long time. A smaller, more advanced chip process usually means better speed, stronger power efficiency, and improved thermal performance. So this would not just be about launching apps faster or boosting benchmark scores. It could mean smoother multitasking, more stable gaming, faster AI features, better photo and video processing, and overall snappier everyday performance. More importantly, that kind of efficiency can affect almost every part of the phone experience. When the chip is smarter with power, everything else begins to benefit. And that brings us to one of the most important parts of any flagship phone, battery life. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is rumored to aim for a new level of battery endurance, and honestly, this may end up being one of its most appreciated upgrades. For many users, battery life matters more than almost anything else. A phone can have an incredible display and amazing cameras, but if it cannot reliably last through a heavy day, that experience starts to fall apart. Apple seems to understand that, and with a more efficient processor plus possible internal hardware optimizations, the iPhone 18 Pro Max could deliver the kind of battery performance that sets a new standard for long-lasting use on a single charge. That means more gaming, more streaming, more social media, more navigation, more video recording, and less battery anxiety. For power users especially, this could be a major reason to upgrade. If Apple manages to combine high-end performance with noticeably longer battery life, that alone would make this phone feel like a serious leap forward, rather than just another yearly refresh. And then there is the display, where Apple may be making subtle but very important progress. According to the leaks, the front of the iPhone 18 Pro Max could look cleaner thanks to advancements in under-display sensor technology. That could allow Apple to shrink the footprint of the dynamic island, giving users more usable screen space and a more immersive viewing experience. Again, this might not be the kind of change that screams for attention in a keynote, but in daily use, it could make the phone feel noticeably more modern. Watching videos, scrolling through apps, gaming, or even just looking at the home screen would feel less interrupted and more visually clean. It is exactly the kind of refinement Apple loves. Not dramatic at first glance, but meaningful once you actually use the device. So when you put all of these rumored changes together, the smoother and more refined design, the potentially game-changing variable aperture camera, the next-generation 2nm chip, the major battery life improvements, and the cleaner display with a smaller dynamic island, the iPhone 18 Pro Max starts to sound like more than just another new iPhone. It sounds like a device built to improve the real experience of using a flagship every day. Of course, these are still leaks, so we should take everything with a bit of caution until Apple makes it official. But if even most of these reports turn out to be true, the iPhone 18 Pro Max could easily become one of Apple's most important and most exciting upgrades in years.